Hello race fans and welcome to the Porsche Club of Great Britain Sim Racing Championship live here from Bathurst. Who will be the king of the mountain tonight? We're about to find out here on RaceSpotTV at one of the most fearsome circuits anywhere on earth. It's Peter Mackay here up in the RaceSpotTV commentary box alongside, yes, he's back ladies and gentlemen, it's none other, the one, the only, Chaz Draycott.
Hello, Peter. Hello. Thank you very much. It's great to be back here on RaceSpotTV. Great to be beside yourself once again for, I'm sure, a great evening of laughs up here in the commentary box. But, of course, fantastic racing here from the Porsche Club of Great Britain Sim Racing Series. And, yes, what a place to come racing. And for me to return to the championship, but possibly one of the most exciting venues on the calendar. Bathurst is going to be a real treat for us. Maybe a bit of a nightmare for some of the drivers. But I'm super excited to see how this sort of first half of the season gets completed.
Well, the organisers of the Porsche Club of Great Britain Sim Racing Series have always put together great calendars, but I think they've outdone themselves in this particular season, Season 7 of this great club's racing. Red Bull Ring was our kick-off point back in September, with progressing through Hungaroring, Fuji, and then today here at Bathurst, 2 races for your enjoyment tonight. Then we go on to Detroit, the first ever street circuit in the Porsche Club of Great Britain Sim Racing. That is in 2 weeks' time from Detroit. Then we go over to Zandvoort, the newly updated Zandvoort, that's the 6th round of the championship at the end of November. Then 2 iconic endurance racing venues, Le Mans, Le Circuit de la Sarthe and Sebring, to finish the season off at the end of December, just before Christmas. And who will have the best present under the tree with the championship? Well, in the pro class right now, it's too close to call. Christian Tsuruta, well, he sits with just a 1-point advantage over Johnny Cullen. We've talked about throughout the season so far of how Tsuruta and Cullen have been so close in terms of pace. Well, in championship points, they're virtually identical. 83 points for Tsuruta, 82 for Cullen. There they are. Austin Greatorex sits in 3rd at the moment on 67 points. Johnny Elia is on 58. Mark Baxter Jones on 55. Then James Cummings, Mark Johnson, Ian Crawford, Rob Sharp and Stuart Clark, they chased down from 6th down to 10th, but it's so tight up at the top. The most improved driver from the Commentator's Choice Award from last season, Ryan Penny, he leads in the AM class with 80 points, holds a 21-point advantage right now over Josh Bailey in the AM class. But Gilles Gardner, after missing around, he is just coming back and hunting down now in 3rd. 58 points away at this moment, 58 points scored at this moment in time, 22 off the lead. Then it's Amrik Sashdev who sits in 4th, and Kim Such rounds out the top 5. Alex Owen, Drew Fletcher, Alistair Hatcher, Andrew Marston and Mark Elvin looking to get their season going and getting a little bit of momentum. So the drivers are out in practice at the moment, and we'll be getting prepared for what will be a very important qualifying session, Chaz.
Yeah, absolutely. Track position is so important here at Bathurst, and you have to really pick up any positions and any possible advantage that you can when it comes down to Bathurst, because you need to be there as soon as possible on this circuit. You don't want to be caught behind somebody in front of you. You don't want to sort of feel out of position either here, because if you do qualify and maybe have a bit of a shoddy lap and you end up behind somebody that's not on paper as quick as you, it's notoriously difficult to overtake here. And if, say, one of the worst scenarios I think I've ever been around here was me and another driver were both quicker, clearly, than somebody in front of us. The driver ahead of me got in front of them very soon on, and I had to then wait the entire mountain section to try and get them again on Conrod, and that's where the playing field is at its most level as well, you know, only a bit of slipstream to play with. So you have to really pick your battles around here and make sure that you get the most out of this qualifying session.
Yeah, it's going to be super important, and over the mountain it really is that key area, being able to put that lap together, thread a lap through those very narrow walls. Of course, it is effectively a temporary circuit, Bathurst. It's not raced on that many times a year. That's because part of it is public road. There is a permanent aspect to it, but there's also very much a temporary aspect to it. And well, it's just there's nothing quite like it. Even the Nürburgring is different to this.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's certainly unique in its own way, and there's a lot of blind corners here as well. That's one of the scariest bits about it. You know, it's such a high-speed circuit over the top of the mountain. There's a lot of cars here that you'll almost be flat in through most sections across the top there. But to be honest with you, I think that in these cars tonight, they're going to be pretty flat through most of it. You know, these Porsches really do cling to the tarmac, don't they, very, very well. And these drivers are now going to have to be so committed. And that's the thing, commitment here. Look at that there, that view as you head down towards Skyline. You are literally falling off a cliff down there. It is one of the scariest corners in motorsport, and we are going to see drivers taking it easy down there, hopefully anyway, through the opening laps of tonight. But I'm certainly excited for this one because it's going to separate the men from the boys, I'd say, in this category, definitely.
It will. That's for certain. Of course, a new car for this season here in the Porsche Club of Great Britain, the Porsche 992 GT3R, the latest edition of the highly successful GT3R race car. So we gave the RSR very much a farewell in the last season of the Porsche Club of Great Britain, and this weekend, Chaz, at Bahrain, it's not only the last race for the RSR and its current generation, but the last race for GTE cars in total.
Yeah, it's a massive shame, really. It's been such an exciting category to follow, and obviously the RSR, I'd say, out of all of them, is possibly the most famous of the GTE cars as well because of the epic noise it made after it had the 991.2 exhaust update put on it for Le Mans a few years ago. And there's so many great videos of the first appearance of that car where everybody just held their ears. They tried to turn down their microphones and it just blasted all the windows out of all the buildings because it's such a unique but beautiful sound. And to be fair, it's going to be hopefully a great event to finish the GTE era of. And I just hope that, I'm sure, like many, that the cars don't go to waste anywhere. You know, I hope that some of them, the right ones, are kept in decent museum form and kept for people to see. But it would be lovely to see them appear in other series, you know, with sort of power to weight categories around the world elsewhere.
Yeah, I think it'll mainly be historic racing we see them in going forward, which is an interesting one. And I wonder also which manufacturers will actually sell cars to, like the retired cars, to private individuals. It depends on the policy of the individual company. Some of them are already owned by private individuals as well. So yeah, I think they'll be very sought after cars in the future. So Johnny Cullen in the 666 machine, he's on an outlap right now, just building up the tire temperature and getting ready for a run here. Just 2 flying laps the drivers get. And they've got just under 3 flying laps, just under 15 minutes to do that. But over the line comes Johnny Cullen to start his first flying lap, coming up towards Hill Corner, and then a little bit of a slide there, Chaz. That's not going to help.
No, absolutely. And straight away at the beginning of the lap as well, he's going to have the rest of the lap now to think about that and get frustrated about. And it's a long time before he gets to have another go. That's the scary bit. The speed of this car, though, as he comes up towards the right-hander here is really, really terrifying. I actually had a disagreement with an Australian gentleman recently about whether that's called quarry and whether the next corner's called the cutting, but I'm pretty sure that that's always been the way. Quarry's the left-hander and this is the cutting. Do you ever hear of it being any other way?
Well, this is definitely the cutting that's just gone through, but apparently quarry has been renamed to Griffins.
Right, apparently. Because the right-hander after the cutting used to be Griffins, didn't it? Well, I've still got it as Griffin's Mount now.
Griffin's
actually.
Mount, yes. I think it's changed around.
Right.
Yes. Don't argue with an Australian, though. Definitely
No.
not a good idea.
No, but they're very passionate, aren't they? I remember one Jeremy Clarkson once describing the Bathurst 1000 as a massive fist fight between Ford and Holden fans, and during the interval, a motor race breaks out.
Yeah, fairly accurate. Fairly accurate. Coming down at Forest's elbow, very difficult corner there, but very crucial to get the speed carrying on to the Conrod straight. And then you're just absolutely flat to the board all the way down towards the chase. One of the coolest sequences anywhere in motorsport. You'd think braking for a chicane can't be that exciting. Watch this.
Yeah, it really is. at the speed down there. The car screaming away, making a hell of a racket. Hard on the brakes and nice and tidy then in through the chicane. And again, that's a really difficult part of the circuit to get right, isn't it? Because you go over a crest there and the car can easily get away from you around there.
It can, yeah, and you think it's not a slow chicane. Still third gear you're using through there in these 992 GT3Rs, running the slightly bigger 4.2 litre flat six, as Johnny Cullen, despite that mistake at the first corner, goes to the top of the timesheets, gets it much neater and tidy this time around. So a 202.448 for Cullen, 0.8 of a second quicker than Greatorex. Let's see if Greatorex can improve though.
Yeah, Greatorex always one to push, isn't he? He's always an exciting driver to watch, has been since the very start. And there's been a few seasons where he's not made every single round, so he's not had that sort of full chance to go for a title in this championship. I'm really intrigued to see whether he can see this one through and go for it. Look at the commitment around the final corner there. Across the line, 2 wheels on the grass on the right-hand side, and his lap time is a 202.788. Not enough to improve to pole position, but still not too far off. And really, thinking about the relative terms here, 0.3 of a second around a 2-minute lap isn't that bad at all, is it?
No, not at all. There's not much space to find there. That's good lap there from Austin Greatorex. So I discovered the other day there was a driver in America in the 1950s called Greatorex who drove a Porsche as well. Yeah,
no way.
There's another one out there. Yeah.
That's mad. It's a surname I've never heard before, and the fact that there's that much of a tie to it is pretty scary, actually, isn't it? There's definitely something in the Matrix.
That doubled the number of times I'd heard the surname anyway when I saw that. So yeah, but a rare name, but there was one out there in the 50s racing a Porsche. Danny Jones, the Haribo Bear, over the line. He comes 13th quickest for Danny so far, a little bit off the pace at this moment. But let's see what he can pull under from out the back of the sofa here. Oh, off! Greatorex off on his third flying lap. Oh dear.
Yeah, and he's obviously, whether he does get the chance to reset and go again or not, it's going to take a long time for him to now wind up to a fast lap again. I'd argue that he's maybe only going to get one chance, maybe two at this point, as Johnny Cullen crosses the line. Does not improve that time round. 202.563 on that lap, and a 202.4 is his best. He has a bit of a scrappy first corner again there. That's the thing, though. You don't want to start the lap on the back foot and sort of give away time in the first sectors, because then you're constantly chasing it for the rest of the lap. Rob Sharp is third fastest at the moment. The fastest AM driver currently is Gilles Gardner in car number 27. He's in 11th place ahead of the current AM championship leader, Ryan Penny. Here is Rob Sharp, just going through the final couple of chicanes, and now here's Gilles Gardner having a bit of a blink in and out there, employing the invisibility cloak. But the back end of that Porsche looks so mighty wonderful, doesn't it? It's a gorgeous looking race car. They just get wider and wider every year, these GT3Rs, don't they?
They do, yeah. There's a big difference. Oh, Rob Sharp up third quickest overall. That's a great qualifying for him up there at the sharp end. And Johnny Elia, fresh off a win in the Porsche Sprint Challenge Great Britain esports series, so he's definitely coming in with some confidence. But yeah, this new 992 GT3R much definitely wider just in its appearance, but you look at the back of the car, that's where the majority of the work's gone on. Huge diffuser. I mean, it looks like it's come straight off the RSR GTE car, which is meant to be another step, but to be honest, I don't think it's going to be long before we're talking about GT3 cars that are quicker than the old GTEs, as Goffin comes over the line 10th quickest overall. Yeah, you look at this car, the 992 GT3R, and you look at the new Ferrari 296, they've brought the game on quite a bit.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I can't get on with the Ferrari. Something about it. It's like the front of it's all spiky and triangular and lovely, but then the back of it's a tube. It's a very big sort of cylindrical rear end. It's just a little bit soft. I'm not quite sure I enjoy it, but definitely from the front, it's one of the best looking Ferraris we've had in years in my eyes. But I still think that this Porsche blows it out the park. It's somehow made the headlights look very small on the 992, as Cullen still fastest. Tsuruta goes up there into second place, as we look at the number 2 machine of James Cummings. He was another driver that a couple of seasons in the past has really impressed us, hasn't he, actually? And he's constantly getting quicker and quicker.
He has, yeah. He's really getting faster all the time is James Cummings. He won't want to be starting down in 8th, though. This is an important lap. Tsuruta, as usual, pulls it out the bag at the end of qualifying. Just likes to lull us into a false sense of security. So let's get Cummings over the line and see what he can do. 1.3 seconds off the fast. Oh, that won't help. Big slide there for Cummings, but can he improve at all? 8th at the moment. Over the line he goes. No. So that would be 4th row, unless he's got a lap left. No.
It says he's on his 5th lap at the moment, so I don't think he does he?
No, you only get 3. So including the outlap, with the outlap on top of that. So, ooh dear. Well, another great performance in qualifying as well for Ryan Penny, fastest of the AM drivers, and critically has a Pro Class driver between himself and one of his close rivals, Gilles Gardner. So that's going to be an interesting fight in AM. I mean, in AM, you got to imagine, Chaz, that it's all about survival. Just keep that car out the wall, and you'll get a result.
Yeah, absolutely. You're definitely going to see a bit of a mixed result. I mean, the score sheet doesn't always tell the full story in racing. We know that. We've both looked at many result sheets, I'm sure, and thought, how on earth did that happen? But looking at this here tonight, there are going to be drivers out there this evening that will definitely pick up points where they normally wouldn't by just pure survival, just by getting through the incidents and making it to the end. Christopher Hart here across the line around the final corner in the 196 machine. Completes his lap and does a 206.7 last time round. No improvement for him because, well, it was clearly an invalidated 206.7 because it still says that his best lap is a 207.178. So it's looking like it's going to be Cullen, Tsuruta, Greatorex and Sharp, the top 4. James Cummings still lapping at the moment in this bright orange machine. It's lovely as well to see that Danny Jones is still running the Harry Bobert livery. It's something he's carried since the very first days of this championship, and it's lovely to see that he still has the amazing Harry Bobert on the car, because you just they become synonymous with their liveries and numbers, don't they, drivers? It's like an identity, and it's great to see he's carried that through.
I think the PR guys call it brand.
Yes,
that's their brand. That's definitely Danny Jones's brand. Let's see. James Cummings in the flying Calippo, and now we have the flying Bogey, your reigning champion, Christian Tsuruta, who's got some. Yeah, he's got Bogey in massive capital letters on the rear wing. And if you look very closely on the roof, it also says "Pick it, lick it, flick it." That's the motto of Tsuruta Racing and the flying Bogey. It has been very successful. Now, Tsuruta looks like he's on a bit of a hot one here. Is this a counter? It is, right. So this could count. So he's got to find 0.163 of a second to go past Johnny Cullen. Let's see if he can do it on that Bathurst hot lap. It's a qualifying lap at Bathurst is something really, really special. As he's coming round toward Forest Elbow, it almost, if it looks a little bit ragged coming over the mountain, it almost means you're really, really on it.
I was going to say, I've been holding my breath watching this for the last 15 seconds. He's absolutely on rails around there. It's amazing to watch. Now, Christian actually signed up for the Sim Racing Magazine GT4 Challenge last season as Pilifi Racing, which I did not realise was an anagram for Pick It, Lick It, Flick It Racing. And it was only, I thought it was just some fancy Italian name that he'd come up with. But no, it turns out that it was Pilifi Racing, Pick It, Lick It, Flick It Racing, that he managed to pin onto it. And it took me half a season to get used to it. Still, this looks like a rapid lap by Tsuruta. Is it going to be enough, Peter? Let's see.
Let's see. Over up the line he comes then. Christian Tsuruta. He's on the front row already. Can he go to the correct side of the front row? Yes, he can. 34 thousandths of a second. How do you like it? Wow. Christian Tsuruta edges the bogey onto the front row, onto the pole position. So, fantastic stuff there. Johnny Cullen will be looking at that going, wow, 34 thousandths of a second. There's only 1 point between them in the championship, folks. Wow, another big slide for James Cummings. Yeah, he's struggling a little bit at that final corner there. Is Cummings.
It looks like he's using it as sort of extra practice. He's just finding the limits. He's got that extra time to just go out and put laps out. You know, he's just making sure that he dials himself into the conditions, finds the limits now rather than finding them in the first laps of the race when it could be more of a problem. But yeah, that was definitely a lap time pulled from the bottom of the table there for Christian Tsuruta. He really peeled that one off and flicked that one away. That was absolutely wonderful stuff. But 34 thousandths, I mean, that's a tiny gap anywhere in the world. At Mount Panorama, that's barely even a blink.
That's a speck. It really is. Right, this is how they roll off then for the first race of the day here at Bathurst. Christian Tsuruta and Johnny Cullen, your front row. Then it's Austin Greatorex and Rob Sharp. Starting from the fourth row, we've got Stephen Kershaw and James Cummings. Then it's Oliver Carradine and Stuart Clark, Paul Goffin and Ryan Penny round out row 6. Row 7 is Danny Jones and Gilles Gardner. Then it's Kim Such and Amrik Sashdev. Andrew Shepherd in the Newman Yost colours will roll off from 17th alongside the KFC car of Mark Elvin in 18th place. 19th will be Christopher Hart, followed by Alex Owen. Then it's Peter Brill and Alistair Hatcher, with Andrew Soper starting at the back in 23rd position. So, the drivers line up for their standing start a la the Bathurst 1000, and let's see how they go. Johnny Cullen already there on the second place grid spot. He'll start on the outside, whereas Christian Tsuruta, when he arrives, will start on pole on the inside. Very important for the run to turn 1. Looks like we're almost ready to go here for our 15-minute sprint race. And then we go into the feature later on. Ready to go. The revs begin to rise. Ready to race.
Green flag, green flag.
Green flag here at Bathurst. Down towards turn 1 they go. It's a perfect getaway there from Christian Tsuruta, and he gets clean into turn 1 with Johnny Cullen right in behind. Then it's Austin Greatorex. He's got through into third. They all filter their way through the narrow left-hander there at Hill Corner. But it's heaven at the moment for the flying bogey. Christian Tsuruta up at the top of the hill.
Yeah, fantastic start by them. Very tidy by everybody as well. It's so easy to get carried away because with how tough and how fearsome this circuit can be, you can overlook Hell Corner. You can really look past it and think, oh, it's only a 90-degree left-hander. But there's just something about it. It's like there's a massive magnet on the fence on the outside there, and the curbs are absolute torture. But look at these 992Rs go up the hill. It's absolutely gorgeous. Sounds amazing as well. But everybody keeping it tidy for the first couple of corners here. Maybe just waiting to settle into a bit of a rhythm. But obviously, with it being a sprint race, they've not got as long. And look at this is now power their way now through McPhillamy over the crest of the hill. This is epic to watch already.
Yeah, it's brilliant. Really good discipline from the drivers as well. Just waiting for the tyre temperature to come in, because from a standing start, the tyres are stone cold. Brakes are stone cold as well. So you've got to be super careful. It's easy to lose it on that opening lap, but they're negotiating it well. The leader's already coming out of Forest Elbow and then on to the flat out run down Conrod Straight all the way up to top gear. And then round the very fast right-hander and into the chase. It's such a really special section of circuit here as you come down to the chase. And Tsuruta, well, he's wanting to make a statement early here. He's pulled out a little bit of a gap already.
Yeah, he's doing really well off the start here. He's making it work at this moment in time. Maybe just that bit of commitment. Being the first car over the mountain can have its advantages because you don't have to worry about what the car in front of you is doing. There's no hesitation. You're not basing what you're doing off their inputs and their braking zones. You just take your own rhythm over the top of the mountain, and when you become one with said mountain, it is one of the most incredible feelings. Looked like Mark Johnson was under a bit of pressure from Stephen Kershaw. He closed up on him out of Forest Elbow, and James Cummings was in there as well in the bright orange number 2 machine. Rob Sharp's fallen away a little bit from Austin Greatorex, but he won't mind that too much. Rob usually carries a very metallic spec map on his car. It's usually got a metallic finish with his Orboris racing car, but here it seems like that's not been applied for this evening. Either that or he has just chosen to go for the full white look for tonight. But Tsuruta certainly keeping it nice and tidy in that opening lap. It looks though like out of the first couple of corners here, Johnny Cullen has reined him in a little bit. The slipstream definitely helping as they go up to Quarry and then to the cutting. It's amazing to see the different lines that they take though, how close people get to the walls and how far away from the walls other drivers go, isn't it, Peter? Everyone's got their own approach to the mountain.
Well, that's the risk-reward ratio. The closer you can get to those walls, the more of the circuit you're using, and ultimately the more speed you can carry. That's that's why track limits are punished on normal racetracks, because you're able to extend the circuit and keep the power in more and carry more speed. Bathurst, if you do that, you're in the fence, so you're in the wall. So yeah, you can drive much more, not in the middle of the road, but certainly give more of a margin in the aid of safety. But you're giving away speed. So, like we said, the pro class guys, if they want to win the race, you really got to go right up and almost scrape the mirror on the edge of the wall. But the AM guys, for them, it's just all about survival, survival, survival.
One other element here is that it's looking very dark here at Bathurst, isn't it? It's looking very, very gloomy. I think we are going to be racing into the night, are we? Or is it going to get lighter? I'm not sure if it's a sunrise or a sunset situation, but definitely getting darker, I think. So maybe a race under lights here would be a case. So it's going to make things even more difficult for the drivers, I reckon. They'll have a lot of focus on the gorgeous rear lights here on the 992 GT3R. Almost reminds me of the old 959, how it's just one big Tron-like strip all the way across the middle. It's a great-looking addition that they've started adding to more and more of the cars. I remember seeing it for the first time on the Taycan and falling in love with it there, but the way it's sort of set into the bodywork here and it's not sort of protruding out of it with the 992 GT3R is stunning. Penny still leads in the AM class. Kim Such has moved up into second place, and Sashdev is now in third in that class, but they share 12th, 13th and 14th overall. Is the move on for the lead here though, Peter? Because Cullen, every single time they come out of the first couple of corners, is looking a little bit more racy.
He is, yeah, and able to. The slipstream seems to have more of an effect coming up the hill than it does down the hill, strangely. And either that or Saruta's really getting out of Forest Elbow a little bit better than Cullen is, and then the reverse of that when they come out of Hill Corner at turn 1. Unfortunately, Danny Jones is in the pits, so problems for Danny Jones. What a shame then for the Harry Bobert. Hopefully, we'll see him out in race 2. The grid order for race 2 is interesting. The top 20, the results of the top 20 in this first race are reversed to set the grid for race 2. So if they finish where they are right now, Christian Tsuruta would start 20th on the grid and have to make his way up through the pack. Now, at some circuits, that's not such a concern for the pro drivers. This is what happens to Danny Jones, and just lost it coming down towards Forest Elbow through the dipper. Classic accident.
So easy to do here. The thing is, with the undulation of this place, it's not just the lateral movement that can upset the car, unfortunately. It's the ups and downs, and especially in a car like this where the engine is so far out towards the back of it, any sort of mid-engined or even rear-engined car will really struggle around Bathurst, because the effect will just be completely exaggerated. Oh, dearie me, that I believe was Peter Brill going one way, then the other, losing the back end and just overcorrecting. Again, it's so easy to do in GT3 cars, isn't it? They have these really lazy, horrible slides about them. They don't sort of snap massively and really aggressively like a lot of other race cars do, but GT3s, because they are so grippy and they're so well planted, they sort of have this sort of, I can't even think how to describe it. It's like the car is sort of half going, oh no, we're having a crash, like really sarcastically, and just sort of prolongs the inevitable.
Well, here comes a move coming up around the outside then for Johnny Cullen. This is always a long, long way around. Tsuruta being very clever here, just placing his car on the inside, and it's a bit of a hiding to nothing there, because the road just cambers off quite aggressively, and you nearly end up being a pedigree chump by going around the outside there.
Absolutely, and there's definitely a sign that will give a bit of a message to Johnny Cullen in just a moment's time, because as they go over the hill, he will be reminded that he just maybe needs to, if you look on the right-hand side of your shot, chill out slightly as he goes through there. Oh, you can't even see it from that shot. That's really annoying. I noticed it on the previous one. It just says chill on the fence. I think he really does need to chill out. But Greater X is watching all of this, and he is probably in the prime seat, because you've got Tsuruta having to defend, Cullen really pushing and attacking, but Greater X can sit in the slipstream and just have a front row seat to the battle and then try and pick his moments, I guess.
Yeah, I think that's exactly the strategy he's got there as they come around Forest Elbow and then back on the... Did Cullen hit the ball there?
I think he did. I think he glanced it.
Oh dear. Well, that can bend the steering and all kinds of nasty stuff. And here comes Greatorex now in third place, getting a bit of a draft now from Cullen, because whatever happens, Cullen did not get a good exit at all out of Forest Elbow as they come around towards the chase now. Is Greatorex can even? He's just showing a little. He's showing a headlight in the mirror there, just saying, "If you're wounded, I'm going to try and pounce and get you." So Cullen carries on for now. So no meatball flags or anything like that. No mechanical warning flags. So it looks like he's just got away with that one.
Yeah, maybe just something cosmetic. Very, very close. So it's so easy to do it here. And I mean, I'm sure we've all seen a car just clip that, maybe just knock the suspension out, break a toe link or something against that wall, and you can have that just so easily happen in the sim as well. But Austin Greatorex has certainly got that sort of circling vulture feeling about him right now, waiting to see whether Johnny Cullen in front is wounded. But that first sector, I mean, look at him there. Through Hell Corner and up the hill, he just disappears as we've had a spin behind. That is car number 11. That is Mark Johnson, who has gone sideways. Just keeps it out of the barrier, though. Nicely done, Mark, in the Brumos colours. God, it looks fantastic on that car. And then he gets going again. But, yeah, unfortunately, Mark Johnson dropping outside the top couple of positions there with that little moment.
Yeah, did well not to scratch the Brumos paintwork. Very important. Very important. And just straight away there, Greatorex just dropped ever so slightly. So I'm wondering, Greatorex maybe made a bit of a mistake there, because all of a sudden he's dropped back, and Cullen now is all over the back of Saruta. Now, what is going on here? Oh, dear.
Oh.
Alex Owen straight into the back of... was that Peter Brill? No, Mark Elvin.
Yeah, Mark Elvin's car.
In the KFC car. Oh, dear.
Ouch. Oh, dearie me. Now that's not cricket.
I don't like to see that.
No, that was Kentucky Fried Cricket, that afterwards. That was not on at all, unfortunately. Whether there's ever a mistake or anything like that, you know, people make mistakes, but there's no need for any sort of retaliation. You may as well just get on with your race, and even if anything did happen with someone being a bit overzealous, you don't rise to it, do you? You don't sort of mirror that, because then it makes you look like the bad guy. It's not good to see.
I think everyone in this championship has been at the wrong end of an incident and been the instigator of it as well. I think everyone was... I don't think anyone could say, I've never caused a crash in the whole of the history of Porsche Club of Great Britain sim racing. So yeah, it happens. No need, like you say, Chaz, no need to retaliate like that. Oh, wide for Saruta, and here comes Cullen. Cullen's got a good run here now. It's just Saruta just carried a little bit too much speed. Just front just washed out there, going in to Hell Corner and looking right into the back of the sticky bogies all over the back of Christian Saruta's car and around the outside. I mean, Cullen, he's trying it, but around the outside you just cannot make that work around there. It's impossible.
Yeah, that's the thing. You know, he's trying to flog a dead horse there, isn't he, when he's trying to move around the outside like that. But he's showing Christian. He's really getting into his head. He's just showing him just how committed he is to trying to make a move. I mean, I don't mind staying on board with this all day, because what a fantastic view that is there. It's just glorious to look at. The massive rear wing on that car. I'm sure if we looked hard enough, and if the stream is in high enough bitrate for everybody, we could probably see some bogies on the underside of the diffuser for added downforce on the back end of Christian Saruta's car. Look at the way these things move and wiggle their way over the top of the mountain. It's always a joy to watch any race cars through here, but GT3 cars, any machine of this sort of potency, is just so epic. And again, we have to appreciate iRacing for what it is, in the way that it communicates the car's body language and movement and the way all the components work together. We get such a treat here on iRacing in terms of how naturally these cars move, and it's great to see how well it translates to our visual pleasing, I'm sure, or visual pleasure for these broadcasts. But still, no visual pleasure in the rearview mirror right now for Christian Saruta, because Cullen is all over him, isn't he, like a rash.
And this is a corner that's more difficult to defend. You can only really defend one side, but it goes left and right. This is Cullen's opportunity, but Saruta really clever, just covering off, basically parking his car exactly where it needs to be. But coming down towards Murray's, Cullen has a little nudge up the inside and just thinks, oh, shall I go for it? No, maybe not. Now up to Cullen's favourite corner here, the very slow left-hander of Hell Corner. Is he going to try and have a dive in here? No, thinks better of it. And it seems, just while we had that onboard shot there going over the mountain, it does seem that it's difficult to follow the car in front going over the mountain, because that aero wash, there's a lot of turbulent air coming out the back of the car from the aerodynamics, and does make it difficult for the drivers who are following.
Yeah, absolutely. Certainly has a big effect. And again, this dead horse tries to get flogged by Johnny Cullen. He really is throwing the entire kitchen sink at this at the moment. And I imagine Austin Greatorex is sitting there shaking his head, to be honest, thinking, come on, why are you trying that again? You may as well take your own line, keep it nice and tidy, and just focus on the run out of the corner and see what you can do. Peter Brill has overdone it through the chicane. Not a bad save at all. Maybe the car's going to go around the other way. No, gets back underway again. Really like the livery on Peter Brill's car, so maybe not the best circumstances to see it in, but at least we get a nice look at it through the chicane. But this top three have been fantastic so far. You have to really say that Greatorex has been under the radar and a bit underappreciated here, but he's doing a great job to stick with these guys and obviously sit in the hot seat of just watching where this goes in these final laps. Now, we'll have one more lap after this, and to be honest, Peter, he's still well in striking distance if anything goes the slightest bit upside down for these guys.
Yeah, I think that the thing that's really playing in Tsuruta's favour is that it's difficult to follow. So he doesn't have to worry about that. With the aero wash going over the mountain, with the turbulent air coming out the car in front, it makes it really difficult to get the front grip. But the other thing is that he's very strong coming out of Forest Elbow, which just gives him enough of an edge to protect. As Cullen goes a bit deep, then here comes Greatorex now. This is Tsuruta's Christmas Day come early as Greatorex goes past Cullen then and makes it stick. So, really big error there for Cullen. And in a championship as close as this, remember, Tsuruta leads Cullen by just 1 point. So every single position counts right now. Meanwhile, your AM leader, Ryan Penny, just getting passed there by Mark Johnson, lets him go by. And now here comes Kim Such in the red 44 car. Now right behind his pal, Ryan Penny. That is your fight for the AM class win. Amrik Sashdev there as well in third in class.
Yeah, Amrik is the Austin in this one, isn't he, right now, where he gets the chance to see the two leaders battle it out. But Ryan didn't want to fight too hard with Mark Johnson there. He knew that after Mark's earlier spin, he was going to be a bit fired up and he's going to be a bit less patient to make his way through the AM drivers and move through the order. So Ryan chose not to battle that one too hard, but at the same time, maybe compromise himself a little bit too much. Back on board now, though, with Johnny Cullen as we go up over the top of the mountain once more. And you can see Christian Tsuruta with a bit more of a comfortable gap ahead of the pair of them. Greatorex has done exactly what he needed to do here, and he's taken some championship points away from Cullen as this stands. We've still got, of course, the final chicane, but look at this. It's so cool to be on board with these cars once again. And now Greatorex runs a little bit wide before the dipper. Manages to collect it all back up, though, and into Forest Elbow once more. They're taking very interesting lines through there. You would have thought they'd swing out a lot wider, but they're going instantly for the inside line. And one more time, Peter, we have the run down the epic Conrod Straight.
We do, and Cullen is going to have to work hard if he wants this position back from Greatorex Tsuruta. He's away at the front of the field with just half a lap remaining. Down to the chase we go then. Cullen right on the gearbox here of Greatorex. Greatorex puts it in the middle of the road and tries to make Cullen go around the outside, and same error there for Cullen. It gets in a little bit too deep, and I think that will be all she wrote. Christian Tsuruta, the defending champion, your championship leader, edges the gap that little bit wider. Christian Tsuruta wins race 1 here at Mount Panorama. Austin Greatorex, great drive to second, and Johnny Cullen, he'll be frustrated with that. Only third place for him.
Yeah, great win that for Christian Tsuruta. We look back to see what the AM battle is like as well, and I believe Ryan Penny has crossed the line and taken that one. Looks like Kim Such has had a drama. There is a drama in the background as well. Kim Such and Amrik Sashdev have come together, and there's that Gilles Gardner coming through. That's going to recuperate some championship points for him. He's looking down the inside of Kim Such now into the final corner. Kim defends the inside line, but can Gilles focus on the exit? Is Kim going to be a bit rattled? No, manages to get it back together, but wow, big dramas there. Our producer scared the life out of me there, screaming that they binned it in the background. But wow, Gilles Gardner manages to get a podium out of that one. No, they don't actually, because Alistair Hatcher went past the pair of them. I do apologise, Alistair. He managed to make some places out of that. So definite big drama there in the AM class right at the end, Peter. Wow.
Wow, a hatchet job at the end there. It started all the way at the back of the pack, did Alistair, and that's a fantastic run through. Brilliant stuff. Wonder what happened. It seemed, though, yeah, a little bit of contact there between Such and Sashdev, but all kicking off there in the AM class. Well, an exciting first race here at Bathurst. 15 minutes was the distance there. The 25-minute feature race coming up shortly. And we'll have the results for you in just a second. Remember, the top 20 from race 1 are reversed for the grid in race 2. This is your replay then. So Such in front in the red car, Sashdev in the blue and white. Boff, T-bone stake.
Wow, that was it looked like they just sort of drifted to that part of the corner. Kim not very happy with that, and maybe a little bit of frustration there as well on the exit, or the car just didn't turn as well as he wanted to. I'm not quite sure. But that was very late by Sashdev, just trying it a little bit too hard there, and a clumsy mistake, but at the end of the day, Kim still finished in front of him, I guess. It would have been a lot worse if Sashdev had hit him and then Kim Such was the one that just went flying off the road on his own, and Sashdev managed to carry on with a sort of a sorry out of the window, but still not nice to see. But I tell you what, Hatcher will be pleased with the fact that he got some freebies out of that one at least.
Yeah, that was a real freebie. Christian Taruta then your winner after 8 laps of fierce racing here at Mount Panorama. Austin Greatrex there in second. Johnny Cullen, really, he would have wanted more than third place there. Rob Sharp came home in a solid fourth, with Cummings rounding out the top 5. Then it was Kershaw, Carradine, Clark, Goffin and Johnson making up your top 10. In AM, your winner, Ryan Penny, extends his gap at the front of the field in the AM class and actually puts a bit more distance between himself and his closest rivals, who some of them didn't have the best of race there. Alistair Hatcher, drive of the day for me, from the back of the pack up into 12th place. Fantastic. Kim Such was on the AM class podium, 13th overall, despite that last lap incident. Joe Garner came home 14th, 4th in class, and Amrik Sashdev licking his wounds slightly after that one. Maybe a little bit sheepish, I would suspect, there in 15th place. Johnny Elia, not the day he would want to have so far, 16th overall. Christian Hart was 17th, then it was Mark Elvin, Andrew Soper and Alex Owen rounding out your top 20. Peter Brill was 21st, and then Danny Jones, after a pit stop, came home 22nd, and Andrew Shepherd coming home in 23rd place. So, next up is our feature race. What did you make of all that then, Chaz?
Well, fantastic racing once again. It's great to be back. The guys at the front put on an epic show. We had a very strong fight for the AM class lead as well, so it's not changed a bit since I left by the look of it. There's still great battles going on all throughout the order, and what a fantastic circuit Mount Panorama has already shown itself to be. The cars, it's the first time I've actually commentated on the 992 GT3Rs, and they certainly look and sound just as fantastic as the Porsche race cars that have come before them. But one of the best things I think about this championship is that we have covered so many different machines from when it started. We started with the 991 Cup car. We then moved, of course, to the GT3 cars, then the GTEs, back to the GT3s, or the 992 Cup cars as well. They've covered just about every Porsche race car there is here, and we've even had some fun events in some of the, I believe we had some in the 919 a while ago as well, and the GT4s even. So, you know, the fact that we've managed to sample everything from the book of Porsche in this championship so far, it's great to see another car added to that list.
Well, we've got a new one we need to play with, the 963, the GTP
very
car.
tasty.
Need to get that out there, and for a bit of fun. I think I'd like to see that. So the drivers now just into their warm up, and interesting. I think we had started in the morning. I think, Chaz, because it looks like it's brightening up here at a virtual Bathurst.
Yeah, I'm not sure if this will be like a sort of a next day scenario. I know that as part of the simulation, sometimes in some leagues, people have now started adopting, rather than doing all of the races as if they're all in one day. Oh, James Cummings, hello, Eds. Oh, dearie me. Dane, our producer, has just admitted that was a complete fluke and just fantastic timing. But yeah, a lot of leagues have recently started doing like a 2-day format in terms of the time in the sim. So they've had qualifying in a first race on like a late afternoon on what would be a Saturday, for example. And then they've set race 2, as you can now in the sim, to the sort of next day in the morning. So I quite enjoy doing that, but for this one, we're going to be at the same time of night. We've carried on basically chronologically. I just think the B-roll was very sunny, so it recorded earlier in the day. Let's say, Peter.
One we made earlier.
Yeah, it's full Blue Peter on this.
Blue Peter with Peter and Charles. God, we would have got cancelled with that.
Oh my God! Can you imagine some of the awful toilet roll tube monsters we could have made?
Oh my goodness me! I was like, right, we're gonna do Skeletric again today. Oh, again, same as last week.
Aurora AFX, yeah. A proper throwback. Aurora AFX. It was before Scalextric. Scalextric's a copycat of Aurora AFX. The cars were much smaller. You could get really cool, detailed old Minardis. I had like Ferraris from 1991, all sorts. Rally 205 WRC I had with Aurora AFX. We'll talk about this for hours after the broadcast.
Oh my goodness me.
Yeah, David Addison's a big fan of Aurora AFX as well.
Aurora AFX, I had never heard of it, I'll be very honest. That's crazy. Yeah, my first Skeletric set. Well, actually, you could make Mount Panorama on a Skeletric set when you look at it like that, Chaz. I think a couple of right angled corners. It looks fairly simple there, but it's anything but.
Absolutely, yeah. The elevation makes Mount Panorama very, very unique indeed. And of course, this circuit is humongous in scale as well. So what looks like nice flowing smooth corners like you'd see on a Formula 1 track nowadays, where it's impossible to overtake because it's all about going at 200 miles an hour everywhere, it's actually not the case. It is a massive downhill drop once you get to the place of Skyline in the middle of all of that. And of course, Forest Elbow as well. It's like jumping off the side of an aircraft carrier. It is an absolute drop down. But here's our grid for the second race of the night then, Peter, the feature race.
Alex Owen and Andrew Soper are your front row, with Mark Elvin and Christopher Hart on row 2. Then Johnny Elia, great grid position for him, chance for a win alongside Amrik Sashdev. Then starting on the 4th row of the grid here in this feature race is Joe Gardner and Kim Such. Then it's Alistair Hatcher and Ryan Penny, your winner in race 1. Then it's Mark Johnson and Paul Goffin. Starting on row 7 with Stuart Clark alongside Oliver Carwadine. Then it's Stephen Kershaw and James Cummings. Then Rob Sharp and Johnny Cullen are your 9th row of the grid. Then it's row 10, Austin Greatorex and your winner from race 1, Christian Saruta. Peter Brill, Danny Jones and Andrew Shepherd start at the back of the grid. So here they are then.
Green flag.
We've got a few missing. Oh, we've got a few missing. Off we go. Alex Owen, he's not got it into drive. Here goes Johnny Elia, and he comes around from about the 4th row of the grid, and round he goes. I think that's caught several drivers out. We're going to have a lot of drivers starting for the pit lane. Oh my goodness me, it's all arms and elbows.
Greatorex and Cummings.
Contact there for Greatorex.
Oh, dearie me. It was a big mess at the back there. I think some of them just went in a little bit too hot there, Peter. Sorry to jump over you, but I think it was Cummings that got put sideways and then hit the side of Greatorex. They all managed to get away with it by the look of it, but I'm wondering whether, because of the sort of corner-to-corner damage, or corner-to-corner contact, I should say, whether they have any damage in the long run. Let's keep our eyes out for it.
Well, and if they do have damage, it's a long 25-minute race carrying that damage. If so, it did look like Saruta had some damage there as they came through. Whoa, chaotic start to the race here. It's poor old Alex Owen on the front of the grid. I think he hadn't clicked it into first gear because it just sat there as the race went green. So up at the front, Alex Owen just clips off the wall as well. But out front, I think it's Mark Elvin who's got the bit between his teeth. He's out at the front with Christopher Hart chasing them down. Johnny Elia's already up to 3rd. Yes, it is Mark Elvin who's leading the way, and here comes Elia trying to get around Christopher Hart, but Hart's is holding the defensive line as they go through. So Mark Elvin leads at Bathurst.
Does indeed, and he's got a comfortable gap behind him as well. Here we're looking a little bit further back in the pack here. We've got a car off there at Forest Elbow, and they jump straight back to the pits. And this is said car going off. James Cummings, Austin Greatorex. Greatorex involved in that, and a massive, massive hit. Is that Cullen involved as well? And Saruta. Wow.
I don't think Saruta was involved. No, Saruta was through. He was gone.
No, I think he got contact there as one of them tried to recover slightly, but I think he maybe got through. Well, he definitely got through, but I'm not sure what damage he might have picked up there. We'll have to wait and see. Again,
certainly got it a lot worse than a lot better than Cullen did. Oh, it's all kicking off here in this feature race here at Bathurst. The first race was incredibly clean. This on the most part. This one not so much so far in this first lap, but you've got quite a spread in pace from the top to further down the field, and that is definitely showing in a reverse grid race. Mark Elvin still leading on to lap 2 then, with Johnny Elia right in behind him, with Christopher Hart there in 3rd, and Henrik Sastev all the way up to 4th as well, and he's bringing Gilles Gardner with him as Alistair Hatcher tries to make a move there on Mark Johnson, who runs wide in the Brumos car there. So Hatcher through.
Yeah, it's all kicking off now as some of the pro drivers try and make their way through. The AM drivers, Johnny Elia, certainly one of the favourites for taking a win here on paper, being in the pro class, chasing down the AM leader, Mark Elvin. Here we look at a replay of just how easy it is for it to unfold in front of you here at Bathurst. Johnny Cullen's over on the left-hand side. He's lost a bit of time there, and I believe... that was it. So he actually didn't get to the accident. The car off in the wall. I'm not quite sure who that was afterwards, actually. It was the sort of aftermath of it also. This is Johnny Cullen.
He's okay.
Behind Saruta. Oh. Goffin. That's it. That's the one. That's the one we were talking about. The whole field stationary. Danny Jones has just reached it as well. Peter Brill, Christian Saruta. There's cars with bumpers missing and all sorts. Wow. I thought that was a replay for a second then, Peter, and then I realised it was all folding in front of me. And then, yeah.
Oh, dear. Well, this is great for the drivers up front. If you're the other side of that traffic jam, you've just gained a huge chunk of time. Meanwhile, Elvin drops back into 2nd. Johnny Elia leads the race. This is the best opportunity Johnny Elia can get. Remember, he's sitting 4th in the championship right now, so a win would... Oh, it was Sashdev lost it. Clattered Suits, then clattered Gardner, and then the Rusty Rose car, Stuart Clark, he nips through.
Yeah,
it's a graveyard in the pit lane.
Well, and fair credit to some of the drivers there, because in a moment like that, when you've had an incident like that and everybody's stationary, it's very easy to think, oh, well, I'll just drive on. But the guys at the front of it tried to get out of the way as soon as possible, and they jumped straight back to the pits. They selflessly threw themselves out of the race, effectively, and got straight back to the pits because they didn't want to continue to be a roadblock for others, Gilles Gardner being one of them there, where he instantly teleported himself back to the pits. You have the ability to do that in sim racing, and it's great to see drivers still taking advantage of that. But it's a massive shame it went that way, but in a way, you have to sort of be ready for it here at Bathurst. There's a touch into the back of Saruta. Dearie me. Cullen. Indeed. Yeah, Cullen trying to push his way through there, and it seemed like, he didn't see the initial incident, so going into the back of Saruta the first time could maybe be forgiven, but after that, he certainly was a little bit eager to try and make his way through that when there would have been yellow flags. Let's have a look. This is from Clark. Oh, nicely done, Stuart.
Well
Gets
done.
a bit of a clip on the right rear, but I tell you what, he's made the most of that one. Wow.
that's when you're at the airport security queue and you just duck under the rope and they just hope they don't notice. And he's ducked under that rope. He's gone through the frequent flyer lane. He's
cut the rope.
He's not even on a bronze yet. He's on a British Airways blue, and he's just gone straight through the platinum lane there. Fantastic. Love that audacity there from Stuart Clark.
I'm sure Dane's probably polishing his British Airways bronze badge right now as we speak, actually, now you've mentioned that. You just reminded him. He says they've made them virtual. What a shame, Dane. My heart bleeds. Johnny Elia leads this race with Mark Elvin in 2nd place then, and it's Christopher Hart in 3rd. Those two AM drivers will be really happy as well, because then it's just a plethora of pro drivers behind them. Peter Brill in 3rd place, on for an AM podium, but Elvin and Hart, whichever way round these two finish, they're going to be really happy because they don't have to worry too much for the remaining 18 and a half minutes. This is where the survival aspect comes into this now, Peter, because they don't have to push too hard to stay ahead of the drivers behind them, because in their class, that's how they're going to be scored. So all they need to worry about is the car that's, 7 places behind them? No dramas, I think, but these are... Oh, God. Well, here we go. There was a move there. there was a move, and I thought there was going to be an incident, but Hart now takes the lead in the AM class. I had my heart in my mouth, flipping heck. He now takes second place overall, ahead of Mark Elvin. Mark's not going to take that one line down, though, is he?
No, and they're so close together. Christopher is definitely not the owner of a lonely heart, that's for sure. As they battle away over second position, but they've got company in Mr. Audacity himself, Mr. Free Business Class Upgrade. It's Stuart Clark. Actually, maybe he was saying, maybe he thought, I've left the roast on. Oh, I've got to get through. I can't. My house will be on fire if I don't get here. Excuse me, coming through.
Well, it's roasts against fries right now, as we've got Clark chasing Elvin. The two cooking methods after a podium finish right now. There definitely won't be 11 herbs and spices between them. There's certainly more than that. Hopefully it doesn't get too salty over it. He's Christian Cerruto. It's going to
be winner chicken dinner.
Is it going to be a roast chicken or a fried chicken, Peter? Let's find out, shall we?
Oh, well. Anyway, so Rob Sharp, he's up in 6th position. He's got Cerruto right behind, who's got past Cullen, who I think in all that shunting and Thomas the Tank Engine impression, he's actually given himself some damage. So that's so Cerruto's taking advantage of that right behind Sharp now, as the sun beginning to set quite quickly here on a virtual Bathurst. And the circuit, of course, doesn't necessarily need any extra challenge, but throw the dark in there, that just makes it even more fierce.
Absolutely does indeed. I'm not sure if that makes me the fat controller or not, but I'm not sure. Christian Cerruto down the inside of Rob Sharp. Lovely move. Very committed stuff from Cerruto, and I think maybe Rob Sharp thinking, no, after you, Sunshine, you go. I'm happy to follow you as well. Rob's a lovely bloke as well. I've interviewed him a number of times, and he's a great chap, but he's, again, one that's constantly getting faster. He's always scoring points. He's a real top guy. At the moment, we've got, of course, this battle for the lead in the AM class, which has now been separated by Stuart Clark. He moves through into 3rd position outright. Mark Elvin is now demoted to 4th. He won't be too upset with that, though. Elvin making the most of this reverse grid and running well at this moment in time. iRacing's lighting doing its thing there, thank you. Johnny Elia continues to lead this race, though. 11.6 seconds to the good now, Peter. That's got to feel great.
Yeah, he took full advantage of that grid spot.
Never mind 11 tenths is 11 seconds. There you go. Sorry.
Oh.
I had to get that out there, sorry.
Yeah, I'm good. No. You know this is an open space, Chaz. This is. I thought actually you're not the fat controller. We've got to be those the shunting trucks that giggle away. That's us.
Oh yeah, what are they? Oh yeah, something in diesel they're called, aren't they?
Yeah.
Oh, them cretins. Yeah, that's us.
That's us. Yeah, little wrongins.
Sit at the back taking the mic.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Throwing coal at
Hart though. He's under pressure now from Stuart Clark, the pro class driver. Remember Stuart Clark, and you can see they're just closing in on the brakes there. Clark getting closer and closer all the time, looking menacing now. But this has been a good drive from Christopher Hart. Remember, he started near the back of the grid in race 1 and now enjoying a brilliant job here in race 2. Oh, and coming out of Forest Elbow, they're very strong.
Yeah, he looked fantastic out of there, and that's the thing with Hart's drive tonight. You have to play the game when it's a race format like this, when you can take advantage of the reverse grid. You have to be so versatile as a driver, not only when you're one of the drivers that on paper maybe isn't the quickest out there. You have to still be in a strong enough place where the reverse grid benefits you a lot, but then in those reverse grid races, show that you can stay up there with the strongest of drivers. And then on the other side of things, you have to be able to come through patiently from the back if you are one of the quicker drivers on paper to make those moves. That was Stephen Kershaw there going down the inside of Mark Elvin, I believe. A little bit late into the chicane, but somehow they all got away with that there, to say the least. But I think Elvin will not be very pleased with that one.
No, but I think also Elvin showed really good perception there, because he could have turned in as normal, and then he would have got T-boned. He actually straightened the wheel up there to allow, yes, he had to slow down, but it meant that he didn't get turned around or spun or worse. So, still in the game, second in the AM class, and you never know what will happen ahead. Remember, key to winning in the AM class, just keep it on the road, keep it out of the wall here at Bathurst. That is the key thing. Is Cullen, he's running wounded. He's trying to get around the outside there of Rob Sharp. He's not giving up on that. He's not giving up on that move. We nearly had a very squished Haribo bear there. Oh my word!
Absolutely did. One of the ones where you find it out down the back of the sofa after about a week as well. Where
I think that's one that's been underneath the roller on the car seat.
Absolutely has. I'd like to inform everybody as well that the noise I made very closely mimicked our producer's noise as well. This was Stuart Clark going past Christopher Hart. Christopher thinks, you know what, you've been patient enough behind me and you have earned that. And that's, again, one of the things, as one of these quicker drivers coming through past the AM drivers, Peter, especially at a circuit like this, you have to be so patient. You have to really compromise your own pace, compromise your lines, break that little bit earlier, just so you don't go into the back of them. Just don't ruin their race. There's no point ruining their race and ruining your own race. You may as well just be patient, wait for that moment to come to you, and the drivers reward each other. There's such great respect out there on the circuit, and Christopher Hart showed that himself. There's a big spin for such there, and into the wall he goes. Again, we've seen that happen a couple of times, haven't we, around the final corner? It's very easy to do.
Yeah, very, very easy. It's so true. When you're in the AM class, you're not racing with the guys in Pro. It doesn't matter where you finish overall. It's all about your class finish. So,
no,
spin for Sharp. Oh dear. Oh, it just looked around just as he came off the throttle, round it went. So Elvin hangs on for now, and up the inside goes Cullen. A bit of a late move there, but got it done. Got it done nice and clean. And Elvin carries on.
Yeah, very good perception by Mark Elvin, and look, he's braking a little bit earlier. He lets Mark Johnson go through down the inside as well. He knows he's still got a load of places back to Hatcher, who actually moved up into third place in the AM class on that previous lap ahead of Peter Brill, 15th overall. There's Stephen Kershaw just in front of us now as we ride on board with Christian Saruta. We've got Christopher Hart just ahead of that. Oh, Kershaw bringing out all of the sends tonight. Flipping heck, he is really going for moves where you would not expect them, and Saruta is going to make sure that he pays the price. That was very impatient, that by Kershaw, and Saruta goes through as we look back now from Hart, and that was great opportunism by the flying bogey. And I imagine Christopher Hart's probably going to roll over and let these guys go through at some point, but at the end of the day, he may as well just run the mountain at his best capability here. There's a bit of flashing of the lights going on, but there's not really anything he needs to do to get out of the way. He's well within his rights here to defend this position if he wants to.
It's just all one line through here. You try to make something work here and it doesn't happen. The only exception I've ever... Yeah, like that. There you go.
Just like that. Yeah. That's exactly what... Well, the opposite of what I was saying before about being patient. It's a touring.
Yes, you beat me to it. He's just enhanced the value. Go, there you go. Yeah, you're welcome, Christopher. Your car's now worth 50% more than it was before it had the wing. It's been converted to touring specification.
His phone will be going off now. Carl Hazelton will be ringing him, asking him whether he can allocate it.
Get a good deal on it. Get your good deal on it. Get down to Porsche Centre Chester.
I found a dent on the back of it, though. That's 20% off.
Dear, yeah. This is a bit of an awkward one. I found bogies in the boot. Like, how's that happened?
What's this stuck to the back of it, mate? Well, it was a shame to see it. I mean,
Valley boys can get that sorted, though. Don't worry.
Oh, God, yeah.
We need the stock.
Hart still holds the lead, but for how long, though? Because with that wing missing, that car is going to feel like a very unbroadcastable word, to be honest with you. I wonder whether that is more cosmetic than physical damage, though, and I hope for Hart's sake that it is, because he's done a great job so far. It would be a real shame, especially for Saruta as well, who we always praise for his clean and fantastic racing, to have sort of been involved in that incident. You know, I wouldn't like to see it determined that way. He's carrying on, though, so maybe no meatball flag for now. Great in a straight line, I imagine.
Oh, the rapid. That's the Le Mans kit that he's got on it now.
A glass rear wing.
Yes, that's right. It doesn't seem to be giving much of a benefit, sadly.
Looks more like something off Robot Wars now, doesn't it?
Yes. Yeah, it is. It is. So, but Johnny Elia at the front of the field, 14 seconds at the front, but Mark Elvin, second place in AM class, but he has a 40 second advantage back to Alistair Hatcher. So for Mark Elvin, just got to literally drive it in the middle of the road for the next 9 minutes, get it over the line and get a second place.
Yeah, just mind the walls. That's literally all you need to do here. Cullen has just got ahead of Kershaw as well, who we see here. Just going down through Skyline now in towards the Dipper. I can't ever say the Dipper without thinking about the... Oh, there's been apparently a big one. Hart has gone.
Oh, no.
Hart has gone.
But that means... Oh, Mark Elvin's in the lead in AM. Oh!
Wow. Oh. Who would that have been behind him? Danny Jones, wouldn't it? That got very lucky not to make contact there. There's Mark Elvin and Rob Sharp together on the road now. I was going to say, though, I can't ever think of the Dipper without thinking, was it Michael Waltrip or Darrell Waltrip that was taking on a lap around Bathurst? And it's one of the most amazing videos I've ever seen. Well, it's so funny. Some of the stuff that man comes out with. He's terrified of Bathurst and how quick he gets taken around there. And it's all I ever hear. When I say the Dipper, that's all I hear in my head is him screaming. Basically, it's fantastic.
When I think of the Dipper, I think of Matt Campbell pulling off that move to win the Bathurst 12-hour 3 or 4 years ago for El Bamber Racing. It was just one of the best moves I've ever seen, and it
somehow
really announced,
squeezed it.
Yeah, somehow it went past Jake Dennis, former reigning Formula E champion, and just stuffed it up inside, and that really announced Matt Campbell to the world basically. And now he's a Porsche prototype 963 driver. So what that means in the AM class then, Mark Elvin is in the lead in the AM class in the 888. While everyone else has fallen by the wayside, he's piece by piece just clicked off the laps, and when faster cars have come up upon him, he's taken the no risk strategy, and that is paying off. That's what you have to do here at Bathurst. Get it to the flag, and managing it beautifully right now is Mark Elvin, and 9th overall too. Just about to get some company in the form of Austin Greatrex, who I'm sure will be ever courteous.
I'm sure. But yeah, you're absolutely right. You know, Elvin's not just done well in the AM class here, but he's done well overall because he's had a good couple of moments as well where he could have been turned around, he could have had contact with other drivers, but he's managed to keep it on the black stuff, and he's just picked his battles, and that's what's so important here. I think he has just lost that position to Greater X now and is sort of settling back into his rhythm, but he's still got 7 seconds back to James Cummings. Here is Ryan Penny hoping to make a few more places up within the AM class. I must say a quick shout out to Drew Fletcher as well, who's one of our championship regulars. He's not here this evening, and he's cited it down to having to make 30 kilograms of pulled pork this evening, which I'm sure I would love to indulge in. But yeah, he's having a bonfire this weekend. Basically, he has a charity bonfire every year, and he raises a lot of money for charity. He has a lot of friends around to his house, and yeah, unfortunately I can't go because I'm going to be at Brands Hatch. But yeah, he's prepping for that, as I've seen all over his Instagram and his Facebook. So we hope it goes well, Drew, and hope everyone has a fantastic evening. There was a bit of shenanigans going on there.
He's doing the pulling off now before everyone arrives. That's important. 5.5 minutes to go here in the Porsche Club of Great Britain. We're back, Chaz. We're absolutely back.
Christ. I'm sorry, Hugo.
It was all so serene.
Speak for yourself, mate. Like Peter said, 5 minutes of this race to go, and it is well and truly pitch black darkness here now at Bathurst. The challenge has really reached peak, and it is still great battling up and down the order. We've got Johnny Elia leading the way from Stuart Clark, Christian Saruta, Johnny Cullen, Stephen Kershaw, Mark Johnson, Danny Jones and Rob Sharp, with Austin Greatrex and Mark Elvin rounding out the top 10. Mark is the highest placed AM driver by 4 positions in total over Alistair Hatcher in the 964 car. He's not driving a 964, otherwise he'd be way further down the order. But Gilles Gardner is the car behind him, but by a good 23 seconds at this moment. So it's a little bit spread out there, and well, it's going to feel very lonely, isn't it, right now? Not only being alone in the dark racing around a circuit, but a circuit like Bathurst as well. When you don't see any other cars, it just feels like a live practice session on your own, doesn't it?
It does. It really does. And that's kind of where Johnny Elia will be right now, just trying to click off those laps. 12 seconds to the good at the moment, but these are going to be a long 4 minutes for him, and indeed for Mark Elvin as well, who's managing the traffic so well. He's still got that sort of 35 to 40 second gap at the front of the field in AM, and it's just been all about survival. We said that at the top of the show, that would be the key for the AMs, and it's proven to be so.
Absolutely has as well. That big incident earlier really shook the order up, but we've still ended up with the pros at the sharp enders. Speaking of the sharp end, Greatrix goes down the inside of Rob Sharp into the chicane. He's now got Danny Jones stuck in front of him like a Haribo bear that's been down the back of the sofa. James Cummings just moves past Mark Elvin, and there he goes. Elvin backing out of that one, and you can see the different coloured number boards. Ooh, you can see the different coloured grass as well that James Cummings is now going and trimming, and Mark decides that what James needs in his life is a flash of the headlights in the rearview mirror after having a moment like that, almost as if to say, steady on, sunshine, don't worry about it too much. Now, this is out of Hell Corner, and this is Danny Jones and Austin Greatorex to get... Actually, sorry, no, it's Rob Sharp, is it? Going past Danny Jones. Yes, he's trying to have a move on him as Greatorex has got past Danny Jones now. I'll figure it out at some point. It's a load of headlights and silhouettes at this moment in time, but that's the added challenge, not just for the drivers, but for us as well, Peter. As now we can tell it's Danny Jones with that bright green rear bumper. But these, like you said a moment ago, these last laps are going to feel very long for these drivers right now, aren't they?
Rob Sharp trying to move up the order is 9th at the moment. Yeah, and he's got Danny Jones right up ahead in the Haribo car. And yeah, like you mentioned earlier, Chaz, there's so many blind corners here at Bathurst, but then when you throw the dark into the mix, you're kind of driving on muscle memory, really. Yes, you can see to a degree, but you are going, okay, I roughly turn in there, I'm in this gear, that's roughly where I brake. And yeah, it does take quite a bit of practice to go quick in the night. The only advantage though is that the track temperature is much cooler, which helps with the grip, so you do get more grip. That's one thing for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. We saw it a couple of weeks ago as well in another league that I've been running, where over the course of the night the lap times just got faster and faster, and you were thinking surely with no brake markers or anything to look at, the drivers would be getting slower and slower and being more cautious. But honestly, with how much the surface changed overnight, the drivers were just getting quicker and quicker as the track got cooler and cooler. And it's Rob Sharp now that we are on board with, chasing down Danny Jones. Austin Greatorex has disappeared up the road, actually. He's really been flying. Must have eaten all of his carrots. Into the chicane once again. That's another difficult one because the circuit isn't lit. There's no barriers anywhere near that chicane, is there? So you've got no reference as to where that curb is going to be. It just appears out of the darkness, out of nowhere, much like Rob Sharp does down the inside of Danny Jones. I'm not sure whether that was Rob braking late and hitting Danny or Danny moving across the front of him, but that was, again, a little bit too scrappy, and Danny Jones has been turned into the final corner big time.
Yeah, the kind of door was opened, and then so yeah, Rob Sharp went, okay, I'll have a go, and the door then was closed, and as it was closing, it came across,
fell off the hinges.
Yes, it did. That's right. Yeah, bent the hinges at the best. Do you want it to fall off the hinges or bend the hinges? You probably want it to fall off and then keep them, because if it bends the hinges, you're going to need new hinges.
Yeah, anyway, that's true. As long as it doesn't damage the door frame. From that angle, it looked like Danny sort of went to close the door, then moved back over to the right, but not a lot. And then Rob wanted to do the same and just open up the final corner a bit more, and that move to the right is what triggered it. We've got a car. Is that Stuart Clark losing places to these two? It is. Stuart Clark now down to 4th as Johnny Cullen and Christian Zeruta become one 8-wheeled Porsche down the hill for the final time, reigniting that battle from race 1. Good to see that Cullen's damage hasn't affected him too much. One more run down the Conrad again, Peter.
Yeah, what a fight back from Johnny Cullen to get up into 3rd place. The wounded car. I mean, I think Cerrutis is a little bit wounded also, but Cullen he dropped a lot of positions and right behind Cerruta. So it's a replay of race 1. Right out front, Johnny Elia, he's gone. He's won the race, but this is your battle for 2nd position then between Cerruta and Cullen. I just don't know if Cerruta's close enough. There is Johnny Elia. He wins for 11/10 Racing. Been a great racing month or so for Elia, and he's racked up another win here in the Porsche Club of Great Britain. Coming down into the final corner then, it looks like Cerruta is just going to hang on, so that's 2 from 2 in terms of the Cerruta versus Cullen head-to-head. More head-to-heads going on as they come over the line, but we try to pick up the 888 of Mark Elvin. Here he is then. No, it's not. That's the 23.
That's his franchise rival.
Yes, it is a franchise rival, that's right. So the 888 of Mark Elvin never had a win in the Porsche Club of Great Britain Sim Racing, and tonight at the most toughest of venues here at Bathurst in the pitch dark, it's going to be Mark Elvin who wins here in the AM class in the Porsche Club of Great Britain. Fantastic stuff. Great drive from the Kentucky Fried Chicken driver.
Very well done to Mark Elvin. Certainly a stark contrast to what we saw earlier on, I'd say. And I know he will be over the moon with that one. It's not easy at all around here at Bathurst, even to survive these races. And considering the amount of challenges that he got thrown at him, the amount of cars in the Pro class that made their way past him as well, he did a solid job there to take that. And hats off to him. And of course, hats off to our overall race winner, Johnny Elia. He took the advantage and absolutely disappeared over the mountain with it. And he also will be really, really pleased as well with that one. Christian Saruta and Johnny Cullen, it was an epic fight back by both of them, I'd say, to get back up there onto the podium, considering all the sort of mountains they had to climb in that race, as opposed to the obvious one. So another entertaining night of racing, though, in the Porsche Club of Great Britain Sim Racing Series, Peter, and it's good to be back. But, wow, there was a lot of different elements of that thrown at us all in one go there.
There was, yeah, and for the drivers too. I mean, they had to deal with traffic jams, dark, all sorts. It was really, really tough out there. Your winner then in race 2, Johnny Elia, by 14.9 seconds from your championship leader, Christian Saruta, who critically beats his championship rival, Johnny Cullen, on both occasions. So just stretches his gap out ever so slightly. Stuart Clark finished in 4th with Stephen Kershaw. 5th, then it was Mark Johnson in 6th. Austin Greatrex had to settle for 7th. Rob Sharp in 8th. James Cummings in 9th. And Oliver Carradine rounding out the top 10. Then your winner in the AM class, the AAA, Mark Elvin, a debut win in the Porsche Club of Great Britain Sim Racing. Congratulations to him. Andrew Shepherds was 12th. And Alistair Hatcher, another great run in the AM class. 2nd place for him in class. Danny Jones, unfortunately, that tangle cost him dearly, dropping to 14th late on in the race. Gilles Gardner, another solid day at the office, 3rd place in class and 15th overall. Then it was Kim Such, Ryan Penny, Christopher Hart, Paul Goffin, and Amrik Sashdev for an instant early on in the race. Likewise, Alex Owen, Peter Brill, and Andrew Soper. So, our drivers in the Porsche Club of Great Britain are always willing to come for a chat. And Chaz, I think we've got to hand you over to the man of the moment, Mark Elvin.
Absolutely. Welcome to the commentary box, Mark. First off, very well done on taking your first AM class victory here. Talk us through the night in general before that second race, because it didn't look easy at any point in this car. You really had to be on it, didn't you? Oh, he seems to have disappeared again. He's gone back into... He's gone back. Here he is. He's back again. Mr. Elvin.
Yeah.
Hello. Good evening, my friend. Well done for that AM class win, mate. Talk us through your evening overall. That looked difficult just to wrangle the car around.
Yeah, I mean, it was obvious in the second race that something had happened behind, because the AM guys were so far back. I'm like, do you know what? I just need to tickle this home and keep out the pro guys' way. Kind of like a Poundland Max Verstappen, really.
Well, it certainly worked, but I mean, I was saying throughout that second race in particular, you had a lot of challenges thrown your way, a lot of drivers really not showing a lot of patience to try and get through and get down the inside. Does that sort of AM tag over your head sort of carry anything with it, do you think, as a bit of a target for these guys sometimes?
Probably, yes. You know, I mean, it's tricky, this one, isn't it? Between turns 11 and 18, there's nowhere to go. There's nowhere to get out of the way. The best bet is just to let them by on the straight, really. Yeah, I managed to find space a couple of times on the dipper and stuff, but it's not easy. And I was just waiting for the inevitable crash to send me into a pirouette, but thankfully it didn't happen.
Well, it's good to see that it didn't mark it. Of course, that first AM class win for you certainly helps in the championship as well. A lot of points your way. Is it something that you guys really keep a strong eye on between each week? Do you always sort of count the points and do the math while you're driving as well?
Oh, I do. Yeah. I mean, I look at the points post race and think, if only I managed to get a qualifying session in, I'd be a reasonable way, sort of 4th or 5th in the championship, which I'd be very pleased with, given previous years' very poor form, to be honest.
Well, it's still great to see you get that win, like I say, mate. And of course, we hope for more in the future. Is there anyone you'd like to give a quick shout out to before you go?
Everybody here, to be honest, all the sponsors. And everybody else for being so patient in previous seasons with my very slow learning curve that hopefully is picking up now.
Well, thank you very much for joining us quickly, Mark, and well done again. We'll see you in 2 weeks' time.
Yep, thanks, Jazz. Have a good evening.
Cheers.
Cheers.
There you go then. AM Class winner Mark Elvin for the first time. Certainly seems in high spirits after that one, but always a realist, isn't he, Mark, about his racing?
Yeah, I think it's fantastic to see him get that win, and good, really strong performance, I think, from Mark Elvin. Very well deserved. Well, next up in the interview room, someone we haven't heard from so far this season, Christopher Hart, who nearly had it, came up so close. He is with Chaz Draco.
Chris Hart, welcome to the commentary box. Again, another driver that I'm sure will maybe be a little bit bitter about that one, because obviously it was going your way all the way through and they didn't quite pull off. But before that, you were looking very, very strong. Talk us through it.
Who, me? I was just saying, I had VR goggles on. I've not a clue what... I mean, they're very realistic. I don't know if anyone else races with VR goggles on. But they're... it's like being sat in a car. It's not like you're playing a game. It's pretty good, actually, but... your eyes are just... I had a couple of issues early on. Like, it keeps glitching and things go a bit funny. But yeah, when I got into the game, it was good. But it's not when it went dark. It's quite hard to concentrate. But yeah, no, I quite enjoyed it. As I say, this is the first time I've been in the commentary, and the first time, I think that's my second race. So yeah, it was good.
Well, that's it. I mean, really thrown in the deep end racing here at Bathurst in this championship, and in a car that's an absolute missile as well. This 992 GT3R is not an easy thing to get a handle on. What have you found is the sort of biggest challenge of this car, would you say, so far?
Well, getting goggles working all right. No, it is, and getting the eyes. I don't know, to be honest. I think it's good. I think it's good. It's as I say. I mean, I'm very heavy with the left foot, and I just no matter how I try to bleed it off, I'm gonna have a mess around with my pedals. Actually, I've got them Heights bells or something, but yeah, I just can't do it right. And obviously, with the VR goggles on, you can't use your graph where you can see where you're braking on and off. But no, it's good with the VR goggles as well. You can look to the left and right. So there's a couple of times people were passing me, and you just look over to the left, and it's quite crazy actually. You see them, so it's quite good for the actual racing aspect. It's quite like the real thing. It's good.
Well, it's certainly a fantastic thing for the immersion, isn't it? The VR.
Definitely.
It obviously helps out in certain circumstances, so we hope you continue to enjoy it, Chris, and we look forward to seeing you next time. Thanks for very quickly joining us. We'll see you soon.
Yeah. Okay. See you now. Bye.
Cheers. Chris Hart there, almost sounding like he was caught off guard, but then again, I mean, I don't envy him with the VR goggles glitching around and stuff. That's basically my eyesight with this lazy eye. It never really points in the right direction anyway, to be fair, but still.
I think I would, if I took my VR goggles, I'd realise that I was covered in vomit, because I can't use them at all. They're horrid.
I'm absolutely with you, Peter. I've found that, especially in sim racing, it's because I think that the science behind it is I know how it should feel, like slamming on the brakes. I should feel the lurch forward, but not feeling that. My brain says, you're weightless right now. That's weird. But I can jump in a flight sim and fly for hours in VR, which is doing full aerobatics, which is really, really weird. But yeah, I feel you on the motion sickness part, because it is just torrid. But it's nice to see that Chris is enjoying it either way, and hats off to him. I hope he continues to.
Well, we've got time for one more driver. Let's hear from our championship leader, Christian Saruta, who joined us now, and down to you, Chaz.
Mr. Saruta, fantastic to have you in the box with us, mate. Car number 1 for this season, of course. It's lovely to see you repping that number as the reigning champion. First off, what a night. I mean, a first and a second doesn't get much better than that, does it?
Oh, I'll tell you what. If every race weekend I had to clench as much as this one, I'd give some of those Instagram models a run for their money, I think. Because that was quite extreme.
Yeah, the pick it, lick it, flick it wouldn't apply to bogies anymore, would it?
Oh, no, Chaz, no.
Sorry.
Yeah,
You certainly didn't have it easy, though, Christian. Obviously, Mr. Cullen was filling your mirrors the whole time. Even Greater X was up there with you in the first race as well. Talk us through what it's like trying to sort of focus on your own racing around Bathurst with drivers like that all over the back of you.
Oh, well, it was one of those things where I was kind of like, you can push really hard, and that's what I did in qualifying, is that third qualifying lap. I'm like, well, I'm on the front row. I'm just going to absolutely go for it in qualifying and go all out. But then in the race, you don't want to take the risk, because risk here equals, car on its roof or something. So it was kind of like just managing. It's really hard to pass here, so I was kind of comfortable being able to manage Johnny behind, but it's still again quite clenchy because there were a couple of moments where he got a little bit ahead going into that right hand up the hill, and it was quite tight, but just managed to hold on to it. So
I was going to say, it certainly it didn't look easy at any point, and we obviously don't envy you being in the cockpit there with the hard work that goes on behind the wheel, but still, you've got a great championship lead now. It's looking very, very strong as we go into the second half of the season. Anything in particular that you've got in your mind about the championship fight, or are you just going to try and take each meeting at a time?
Well, Johnny does have a decent drop score at the moment, so don't write him off too quickly. I mean, I had a decent lead going in last time round, and he caught me right up and only threw it away in the last round. So I'm sure Johnny will be pushing the entire way, because I'd actually say he's probably got a little bit of a pace edge on me, but I seem to be able to come out on the right side of the reverse grid, if you see what I mean. So I'm sure it will be a battle all the way to the end, and Johnny will be pushing all along with me. So I'm looking forward to it.
Well, you and me both, mate. It should be a fantastic season as it continues to grow. Thanks very much for joining us, though, buddy, and we will hopefully speak to you again very, very soon. But well done again for this evening.
Thanks, guys. I'm going to go massage my buttocks now. Cheers.
Cheers, Christian. Oh, politically correct interviews here, of course, always, Peter. But what a great, fantastic night that was for Christian Zaruta, because on the surface of it, the amount of times we saw him having moments here and there, you wouldn't have thought it, but a first and second place, I'm sure he'll take that any day of the week.
I think so. I think that's exactly what he needed. Come out of a really tough round where you could have come away with 2 non-finishes or 2 terrible scores at somewhere like Bathurst. So yeah, brilliant stuff from Christian Zaruta to just get that little bit of an edge. Well, it's not long before we'll be back on track with the Porsche Club of Great Britain Sim Racing. 2 weeks time we head to our next round, which is our first ever street circuit in the history of the Porsche Club of Great Britain Sim series. That's on November the 15th, same time, 8 o'clock UK, with Zandvoort, Le Mans and Sebring to take us all the way to near enough to Christmas time. So be sure to join us 8 o'clock UK time on RaceSpotTV. From us all here at RaceSpotTV, myself, Peter Mackay, my co-commentator Chaz Greycott, and our producer Dane Baird. Thanks so much for watching, and see you next time. Good night.